Hey guys, it's Judy, and this card is for Marissa. Hi Marissa, it's MAM 1016's challenge, and if you do the hashtag scrap our stash 2015, you'll see that we want to use up paper pads and sequins. So here goes my process. I'm using the Mama Elephant stamp that I pretty recently got this stamp, but I just love the sentiment because it is so large, and I don't do this enough where I use sentiments as the focus for my cards. Usually I just have like a girl image or an animal image, and that's usually my focus. So I want to challenge myself to do that and use that stamp. At least that's what I had in mind when I purchased the stamp, is to use it as the main focus. And how pretty would this look embossed in gold? So you'll see me, I use my embossing buddy to kind of wipe down the surface. The cardstock is a Solar White, and I stamp it out twice using my Versamark pad, which is basically like a glue pad. So I am just cutting out the embossed sentiment, and I'm using like a piece of copying paper to hold my glitter. So I don't know if you can see the embossing, but I like to fold my paper in half because it'll be easier to funnel it back into the jar. And you can see I'm using gold embossing, and it's super fine. Definitely use super fine for sentiments. I don't use regular embossing, or when I do, it doesn't come out the way I want it to. So definitely use super fine or detailed. Depends on the brand, I guess. But that's the Tim Holtz Distress. So you see how easy it was with the folded paper to just funnel it back in. So I'm just heating it up, and you will see the transformation. I love when you see it melting and it just changes the color of things, because right now the embossing powder looks like that pewter gold, which is not what I want. But that's what the powder looks like. But you'll see when it's melted, and the lighting is very poor, but somehow the lighting gets brighter, so you can see it really looks like that really nice gold foil. Either the sun, I don't know, my lighting is kind of strange here in the basement. So you can see glimpses of it, and of course I touched it, duh, and it smudged a little. So I'm just gonna redoing it a little by pouring more embossing powder and then reheating. So quick tip, do not touch your embossing to check if it's dry or anything, because it will smudge. And it just bugs me because, you know, you kind of see it. It's not as smooth as the other areas. But anyway, it's really pretty in person. So the paper pad I decided to use is from Crepe Paper, and it is called Party Day, and I picked it up at Marshall's for like $2.99. So I'm going through just some of the papers to see which ones I like the color of, or just to see what goes together or might work. And I'm really bad at mixing pattern papers together, even though they're all in the same collection. They all have a flow to them. That's why they're in the pad, because they should go nicely together. But I don't know, I just cannot layer like pattern over pattern. I'm more of a solid color with one pattern. That's the way I am. That's the way my taste is, I guess, that I like simple, clean and simple is my card style, I guess. So you'll see I kind of usually leave the pattern paper for last. And so that's my new die storage, and I'm loving it because I'm just flipping through and I'm like, here, I'm going to use this die. And I place it on, and I choose the size smaller, and I'm trying to peek through the light to see if the die is too small and it'll cut off my sentiment, because you see how the ridge is kind of in the middle of the actual die, so you still have a little room to play with. You'll see what I mean, because I end up cutting out the die in the smaller size die, because I didn't want too much space. But you'll see that I use it as a guide actually. To you see how it won't cover the whole image, it would actually cut out some of the sentiments. So I decided to go with the neck size up, but I save that piece in the back of that pocket for future. And you see I use a washi tape just to adhere the die down so it won't move, and it will be exactly where I want it to be. And I use the Cuddle Bug, and I love that as my die cutting machine. I use the A, B, and C plates, and then there it is, all cut out. And that's a Spellbinder's Nestabilities, I guess. I don't know which label it is. So next, let's see. Next is trying to figure out which pattern paper I should use. And I'm actually thinking about using sprays. And I had sprays, all my like Mr. Huey's and Color Shine just on these papers just to, you know, it's like swatches. And I wanted a pink, so I think I ended up picking Boss Lady from Mr. Huey's, yes, and I just spritz it all over. And I just use an old Studio Calico box to do all my spraying. And I'm very impatient, so I use a paper towel to dry it off. And that's how it looks. And what I love about embossing is, you know, you can use the sprays because it won't, it's kind of like a resist, is that what you call it with embossing? It's like resist, so it won't, the spray won't go on the actual embossed areas. It'll be in your background. So I'm still trying to decide the pattern paper. And so I think because the base is the blue that's throwing me off, I think I end up changing the base color. But you see, I'm trying to mix patterns, and I'm very bad at mixing patterns, like pattern paper. It just looks too busy to me, and I like clean and simple cards. So you'll see I end up changing the base color to pink because I actually want it to match the spray that I used. I usually like to kind of have the same color on either the stamped image or the focal image as the base, so it adds, it's more cohesive in the look, or it coordinates better. So I ended up choosing this polka dot paper, and I'm just trying to see the placement. And I'm still fiddling around trying to see if I can work another paper in. So I think trying to kill this 6x6 is going to be a long process because I only use one sheet. So I ended up using the same color as the base to do kind of like a ribbon effect across the bottom. And I love doing this because I think it just looks nice. And I could have easily, I should use up some ribbon and just use ribbon instead. And I'm using this corner chopper, it's that lime green one, and I forget, I think it's called a Deco Edge. And I chose that because that kind of looks like what I use as a die cut for the sentiment, using the nestability. So I'm just retrimming that strip because I chose the wrong size and adhering that down. And then I decide to, did I corner chop? No, I'm just adhering the strip down. And then to add the sentiment, I use my foam tape to give it some dimension, and I use the tape I get from Big Lots and I love the foam tape because it's not too thick, it's thin enough, but I just add it to the back of that, enough so it doesn't kind of warp the card at all. And you see how beautiful that embossing in gold is? It doesn't look like that pewter gold, it's actual like a nice gold. And that's the front. But I do decide, because the challenge, I do decide to chomp the base with that deco corner punch. And then that's the sentiment I'm going to use on the inside. And all my sentiments, if it's just going to be black, I always use my VersaFine. And of course, I made a mistake. I didn't press down enough, so I redo the ink, and you'll see my head gets in the way because I really have to line it up. I always try to fix it. Another way is just to cover it with another piece of paper that has a sentiment on it. So I think I lined it up pretty good, and it's not too bad. And then that's how it looks. See the shine and shimmer? Very pretty. And then next I break out the sequins. And I just realized I don't have like all my sequins together. I don't store them together. I usually keep them by kits or something like that, because that's the only way I get sequins. So I knew I had some in my tray, which I got at the Dollar Tree. And that's where I hold all my little pieces from the Paper Issues swag bag. So I pick out some of those colors. And I probably spend like 5-10 minutes trying to figure out where I'm going to put them. And I end up not using all of them. But I just kind of, that's the quick sticks that I use, and I love it. It has like that putty on one side and then like a plastic stick on the other. So, because my fingers don't like sequins, I have a hard time picking them up and moving them around. So that makes it a lot easier. So you see I rearrange it a lot. And then I end up just using a few. And I stick with that. And then I use my glossy accents. Maybe I don't. No, I stick with that. And then I act like I have like 3 hands, and then I try to position everything, because the sticky side, and then I use with the flathead to actually put it down. And then that should be it for the front of the card. And then I had those sequins left over, so I like to put some on the inside as well. And this time it's easier. I just put the adhesive on the spots where I want it, and then I just place them where they need to be. And glossy accents is perfect for adhering like sequins or wood veneers or anything like that. That's my go-to adhesive, because it's, you know, quick to dry and clear. So that is my card, everyone. And you'll see the lighting's not that great, but you'll see the sun shining a little bit. There we go. So that's a gloss. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye.